Welcome to All For You Stories, where we want you to think different so you act different. Let's go. All gone. God cares about what you're doing, not what you did. No one in the world knew that the doc stole drugs from the hospital, but never actually took them. But if you have asked anyone who worked at the hospital, they would have sworn that he used drugs. You can count on one hand the number of people who didn't think the doc had lost his mind. Many of them tried to talk him out of following through on the decision that he made, and even more recommended that he get counseling. His closest so-called friends even considered having an intervention, keeping him in a room until they talked some sense into him. But the doc wouldn't have it. He had made up his mind, and the more people tried to talk him out of it, the more determined he became. No one had the right to tell him what to do. Where had these people been when he really needed them? When he spent nights all alone agonizing over how he had wasted his life? Who reached out to him while he was perched in a pit of gloom, feeling meaningless and used? The doc filed away the last few pieces of paper on his desk and put a few more items in his briefcase. The same briefcase he had used to steal drugs from the hospital just a few months prior. On his way out, he could not help but notice the inquisitive looks. How could someone who has it all throw it all away? Give it all away? But that's the thing about trying to understand others. You don't. Maybe some can relate, but you can't really understand what a person is really feeling unless you were them. Unless you feel the emptiness, you live in the pain, you're trapped in the regret. For his entire life, all the doc cared about was money and how he could make more of it. All he wanted to do was get something new that he could upgrade to something even newer. He used money to get stuff he didn't even need to impress people he didn't even know, people who didn't even know him. These were the people judging him now, and he could really care less. Going to church the past few months had taught him not to care about those who didn't understand. To understand, you would have to be on the same path that he was on, not just in his shoes, but also on the same path. Henny taught him that. It took a few visits before the doc could even focus on the sermon at church. No matter what the pastor said, the doctor could not get over seeing Henny on the stage, which he learned was called a pulpit. He had learned stuff about Henny in the meetings that would make anyone question whether he should be in civilized society, let alone in some leadership position at a church. The doc could not help but wonder what kind of guy would accept a man like this, knowing all the dirt he had done. The question sparked enough curiosity in the doc to want to learn more, and that's when he met the Bible. After accepting the Bible as the actual word of the creator of the world, his life began to come into focus. Understanding that God is love made it easier to understand how someone like Henny could be at the front of a church. God loves us so much that he sees the best in us and doesn't just see us for what we do wrong. So words like compassion, understanding, grace, forgiveness, and tolerance, they weren't just words anymore. They described God and the feelings that God has toward us. Soon the doc stopped thinking so negatively about himself and focused on seeing himself the same way that God sees him. This led to the biggest discovery of all. For the first time ever, the doc realized it was not just all about him. He didn't exist to just look out for himself and what he wanted. God had a plan and wanted him to play a part in it. His existence had a purpose, and this made him want to do more than just read the Bible and pray. Not only did he want to do something now, but he also felt like he had some making up to do. With this in mind, he went to church on the next Sunday and sent up an offering of $75,000. He didn't have any regrets about the offering or think anything of it until Henny showed up at his house that Wednesday with the pastor of the church. After a little small talk, the pastor asked the doc about his offer. The doc explained, "I spent my whole life dedicated to nothing but myself and what I want. Now I know it's bigger, and I figure I got some making up to do." The pastor smiled. "God cares about what you're doing, not what you did. You don't need to go back and make up for what you did wrong. If we did, nothing will ever get done." They talked more and decided the doc would make a smaller donation to the church fund to help people who can't pay their bills, and would give whatever he felt left to give in the weeks going forward. Then the pastor wrote him a check for $70,000. When word got around that the doc would be taking a vacation, after never have taken a vacation in over a decade, everyone had their own opinion. When they found out that he sold most of his cars, including the Tesla, those opinions turned to jokes. And then when they discovered that he would be taking a sabbatical to travel around in a mobile home and give free health care to homeless people, they knew he had lost his mind. How could someone who had it all give it away? But the doc saw it in a whole different way. Giving it all away had him on the right path to finding exactly what he needed. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and do what you gotta do. See you next season.